Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Carl, and in this video we'll be looking at making a dashboard in MVC core for C Sharp, ASP.NET core. And we will be using partial classes for this. It's going to make things really neat, especially if you want to make a really big dashboard with a whole bunch of different charts and stuff. The second part of this video, we will be using charts.js, which is a really cool JavaScript library, which we will be using. For now, we're just going to create the basic view and all of its partial classes, just as an example. So first, I'm going to show you a few things. This is my data analytics controller. At this stage, it only has an index, which I'm not going to show you. It's irrelevant to this tutorial. In my project, I already created a data analytics controller, and it already has an index view. Now, we will be working within the data analytics folder with all our partial views and our dashboard and so forth and so forth. If you do not know how to set up MVC projects or stuff like that, there's a lot of good tutorials online. I recommend I Am Tim Corey or Programming with Mosh. They have really good tutorials on MVC. So first things first, we're going to create the action that's going to lead to our dashboard. Okay, so this is a standard action, and we're calling it dashboard. Returning action result. It's a standard view. So what we are going to do now is we're going to create a view for this. We're going to right click, add view, raise a view, and we're not going to pass in a model. We're not going to create it as a partial class. Use layout page because we want the nav bar on top, or at least I want the nav bar on top. And but you're going to go ahead and click add. Okay, so now Visual Studio has created dashboard.chhtml, which is a razor view. And from here, we are going to load in all our partial classes using an @html dot partial async. Now, this is an async method, which means we will need to await it, and that would require a string. And we're going to do all of that in a moment. So first things first, we're going to need to create our partial classes. So in the data analytics folder, or whichever folder you want to create it in. Now, I'm going to say this real quick. If you create all your partial classes within a folder dedicated to a controller, that controller will only that controller will have access to the partial views. If you want those shared views to be used across your program, put it in the shared folder together with layout and error and all the rest. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and right click here, and I'm going to add, and I'm going to add a view, raise a view, and I'm going to call this, let's say, demo chart 1, and I'm going to create it as a partial class. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click add, and it's going to give this little comment for us up here. Now, just to render something to show it works, I'm going to put a h1 tag here, and I'm just going to say demo chart 1. Now, this is where your chart will eventually come in. So you can say canvas here, and under canvas, we're going to use the script tag to do our JavaScript, and so forth and so forth. So I'm just going to leave this here for now. Now I'm going to create another one, demo chart 2, because creating only one will kind of not, it makes no sense creating only one partial view or partial class. These are partial views, not partial classes. Sorry for that. So I'm going to follow the exact same process. And I'm going to call this demo chart 2 and create a partial view and add. Okay, and I'm just going to copy everything in here over to demo chart 2. And I'm just going to call it demo chart 2 up there. So what are we going to do now? Now in dashboard, no idea why that is there. We're going to call on these two charts. Now in dashboard, I'm going to say at HTML at await, sorry, HTML dot partial async. Now this is going to ask for a string, and I'm going to give it demo chart 1. Now keep in mind that this needs to be the same name as your actual view. Now there is a bit of documentation that I really recommend you go read up on, which says you can add HTML. This is going to restrict it to within the same folder as the dashboard, which means the demo chart 1 needs to be in the same folder as dashboard. No, the dashboard needs to be in the same folder as demo chart. I'm just going to remove that for now. And then right under it, I'm going to do the exact same. In fact, I'm going to copy and paste that real quick. And yeah, I think that is it for now. But I'm just quickly going to run this to see if everything works. Now I'm already logged in, so I'm going to go right here where we said dashboard. And voila, we have demo chart 1 and demo chart 2. If we were to F12 and go into the inspector in our main container, we should have class main and dashboard, which is right on top here. Then we have demo chart 1 and its canvas. Then we have a script. Now we didn't put anything in that script. And then in demo chart 2, a canvas, which is an empty canvas, which is why it's creating that white space, and then its corresponding script. Now from here, we can do a whole bunch of cool things. I'm just going to stop this. Now in our dashboard, this HTML.partial async, this is returning HTML for us to render. So what we can do is, let's say if I go into data.index, where I'm rendering a whole bunch of things. This is just for example code. We have a table, table head with table body, and then table row and table heading. I think it is table heading. Come on. Yeah, header cell. And then we have data cell. So we can quickly do that within dashboard. So we start by creating a table. And just to make it look nice, I'm going to say class equals table. In table, we're going to have two components, which is going to be table head and table body. Now, in this example, I'm using table. You can use whatever you want to lay out your dashboard. Something I usually do is I go into Paint. I just draw a bunch of blocks, and then from there I'm just rendering it as components. Basically, if you know how to use React, you would be comfortable using this method, because React, you load things in as components and you render them within parent components. Here we're basically doing the same. Now, of course, there's a lot of differences, but if it sounds like a duck and it looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So now in our dashboard, in T head, we're going to go table row and table heading. Now I'm just going to copy this real quick. And over here, because we're still on HTML, I'm just going to say C1 and C2. No. And that's going to be our columns. And I'm going to copy this, paste it into TBody, and this TH needs to go to TD. If you're a World of Tanks player, Tank Destroyer. Yay! So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this. I'll render. I'm going to cut the partial async views. I've still no idea what that is. Wonder what's there. Anyway, so I'm going to paste that into it, and then I'm going to run this again. And as you can see, this is the result. I have a nice table on top, and then I can have my different charts over here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one table or multiple tables, and then I'm going to have the same data being, let's say, filtered by different things. Like, let's say I have a bunch of people. I'm going to filter it by age or by gender or all those types of things. So that's all that's what I'm going to do here. You can do something else. You can use flex boxes. You can use grid views. In fact, I highly recommend using grid views because that's going to make your dashboard really nice and responsive. Now, because this is in Bootstrap 2, it's relatively responsive, but it's still not grid views. So I would recommend using grid views. MVC Core uses Bootstrap 4, if I'm correct, which means using Bootstrap for all of this will be really nice. Now, in the next video, I probably should have said this at the start. In the next video, we'll be looking at passing data from our controller to the dashboard. Now, I'm going to do this using the view bag. I'm going to pass the data into the dashboard, and then each one of these partial classes are going to use that. I'm going to show the data. That's going to be like a 5-minute tutorial, just to show you how do you pass data from your controller to your partial classes. And then the third one will actually be looking at using charts.js within our project. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave it in the comment section, and I will see you later.